This week we are talking all about alcohol markers. In my last video, I shared blending techniques you can try out to see which you get the best results from. In this video and my next one, we are talking about techniques you can try out to get even more use out of your alcohol markers. Or if you haven't stepped into trying them out yet, you can get some ideas for how to use them. Let's get started. So what we're talking about today is how to create these beautiful backgrounds. These are quick and easy to create. They do not require any special skill. And like you can see here, you can make some really beautiful, simple cards. Now, if you're new to alcohol markers, I'll show you real quick. What they're mostly used for is coloring in stamped images. In my last video, I shared this and I showed different techniques for how to blend the different colors together so that you get this realistic shading, which is really neat. Now I can link you to this and also to an introduction video I did a while back to blends alcohol markers, and you can learn all about them in those videos. So let's look at how to create these really neat backgrounds. And as you can see, I have just done some basic scribbling, but I did my scribbling in a way that it blends together and gets a really neat look. So who knew that we would be scribbling on our cards today? So when you're using your alcohol markers, you'll always want to make sure you have some scrap paper underneath because they tend to bleed through. Now, when I'm blending, I typically start with my lightest color, move to my darkest color, and then move back to my lightest color. So that is what I'm going to be doing. And for this one, I'll leave these in here so you can see these samples. But so on this one, my scribbles were just back and forth, left and right, all the way across this piece. This one, I did shorter scribbles. This one, I am actually going to do, we're going to do this one diagonally. So I'll start with this lightest color. The colors I'm using today are both light and dark Melon Mambo markers. And then I have my light sweet sorbet marker. So because I'm scribbling, I'm not worrying too much about making sure that I have all of the area filled in because I will be going back and doing this again. When you're doing this, I really encourage you to be very careful at the edges of your paper. You don't really want to go off the edge, but if you do, it's not really a problem, but you want to be really careful that you don't drag the tip harshly when you come back onto the paper because that can damage that tip. And we want to make sure we love these beloved markers. We want to make sure we protect them and can use them for as long as possible. Okay, so I'm going kind of slow. Now, when I did this one right here, this one went so fast. I just scribbled back and forth and was done really quickly. But because of the diagonals here, and because I am right at the edge of that paper, I am being a little bit more cautious. Now, something you can do to be a little bit more carefree and not have to worry about those edges is start with a larger piece of paper, and then after you're done, you can cut it down. Okay, so here is where I get to my blending. So right here, you could leave it like this and you would just have that distinction in the colors, and that would look neat too. But one of the beauty of these blends markers, the alcohol markers, is that you can blend your colors together. So what I am doing when I do my blending, I want to come back in. The way I do it, there are so many ways to blend, but the way I like to do it is to come back in. This is I'm going back to my middle shade, so I'm coloring over that color again, and then down into the darkest color. This is very carefree, so if I miss some spots, that is totally okay. But I am going to let that go. If I need to, I can come back in and do that again in a little bit. But now I'm going to come in with my light one. My light Melon Mambo will go over the lighter part just to re-wet that a little bit. I like to keep most of what I'm working on wet at the same time if possible, because it really does help with the blending. Now, I wouldn't have to come all the way down here to the dark, but sometimes I do. So we'll go over that, and we are just going to let that sit and blend together. Just for a second, I will talk about these two and tell you the colors I used and the stamps. So on this one, I use my Sweet Sorbet markers at the top, my Calypso Coral markers at the bottom. And the stamp set used on this one, this is the True Beauty stamp set I did a tutorial with these this set not too long ago where we did some spritzing and some watercolor type cards without watercoloring. It was really cool. I will link you to that in the video description below, along with those links to my other blends marker tutorials. And then on this one, I used Orchid Oasis and Starry Sky markers along with the Big Hug stamp set that we are going to use here in just a second on our background here. So that was wrong. Reasons to Smile. It's called Reasons to Smile. I love these big giant greetings. So this one was from there, and then I am going to use it here right now. So let's just finish this off. I wanted to show you. So we did our scribbling. It has blended nicely. Now let's come in and add a greeting. Now here are some tips for stamping with large greetings. I love to use my Stamparatus. I never stamp a large greeting like this anymore without using my Stamparatus because it gives me the chance to do-over. It gives me a do-over when I don't get it quite right the first time. Boy, if only life would give us a chance to do over and fix it immediately when we don't do it right the first time. Too bad the Stamparatus doesn't give us that capability. Okay, so I stamped it once. It is pretty good, but what I love to do, well, one, I love the chance that I get the do-over, but sometimes, even if it stamps correctly, with these greetings like this, if I'm stamping over some kind of background that may be hard to see, I just keep stamping with my color until I like how dark it is, until it really shows up. So I'm going to do this a couple more times, and each time I'm not using my magnet since my stamp is so large, but each time I'm just making sure it is all the way up there in the corner. That way I get perfect alignment when I stamp again. Okay, so that looks really nice. We'll give it, I know it's going to get a little bit lighter in color once it dries. We'll do it once more just for good measure. But you can see how these alcohol marker backgrounds are just kind of a fun, bright, bold, carefree way to create a background. If you like this video, make sure you check out my next one because we are going to take these backgrounds and go one step farther and do something really cool with them. If you are interested in any of the products I used today, I'll have links in the description below. If you're new here, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. Thanks so much. I appreciate you. I hope you have a blessed day, and I hope you'll be back again next time when I'll be here helping you to hand make with love.